Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I wanted to talk about the composite chart aspect, Moon square Neptune. So I'm not talking about the synastry aspect, I think I already have a video on that, but I'm talking about the composite chart, which is the combined chart based on the midpoints of the two charts. So it's kind of like the natal chart of the relationship itself. This can also be applied to the Davison relationship chart also. So, this one is one of the very few aspects that me, as a very, I would like to say, positive minded astrologer, would still say that this is a red flag. This aspect shows up very commonly in relationships where one person or both of you are not seeing the relationship clearly, or you're not seeing the other person clearly. So often it'll show up when, one person thinks that this is going to be long term and the other person doesn't see it that way, or, someone is deluding themselves. It comes up very commonly in my sessions, in relationships that don't ever actually quite form. Sometimes there could be a sexual relationship, or it could be just a fantasy that someone is having. And this one creates a lot of fantasies in our heads and our hearts. And it's a very actually emotionally connected relationship, except sometimes the emotions that you're feeling are not actually coming from the relationship. They're like being created within your own being and then projected onto this relationship, which is not always happening. Now, in a functioning relationship that is actually happening, it can just mean that there's a certain level of delusion, there's a certain level of emotional confusion where you actually you don't quite know how to fulfill each other's emotional needs or like desires with the square. So there's something off about, each of you and what you really need to have emotional fulfillment in a relationship. And if you don't communicate what this is, you're going to try to do something that isn't what the other person wants, or you're going to just like make up something in your head that, like, oh, this is what they need, and then it's actually something totally different. So the antidote to this aspect is just very clear, open communication about, what you're feeling, what you want the relationship to be, what you need for emotional fulfillment, or for, like the home life. The moon in the composite chart, it can represent, the home life together, what you combine like together to be emotionally. So when you combine with this, there's definitely some confusion in what you both emotionally need to be fulfilled in a relationship. So it's a tricky one, and it can show there's a lot of feelings that don't really have anywhere to go at times. So it can actually end up feeling really lonely when you're in a relationship with this square, because you feel so much and you feel this soul connection, you feel this fated connection, and it's like feels like it could be everything that you've ever dreamed of or dreamt of. And then the other person just is feeling something totally different, and that can create a real disconnected feeling within yourself that is potentially very heartbreaking. So in a worst case scenario, this is one of the biggest heartbreaks or, illusions of your life. And it doesn't have to be that bad, but I've definitely seen it like that many times. So it's a really interesting one to have. I think that if you have other really good aspects in the composite chart, other aspects to the moon in the composite chart that are favorable, or, like some trines, or like, something else going on to kind of take some of this off, then it can be okay. But if this is like the only moon aspect, and then, there's other hard aspects to the moon, It's kind of a red flag. You want to at least have, something else going on, a trine to the moon or something to show that you guys can emotionally fulfill each other um, in the relationship. Otherwise, there just might not be a point. And this is one of these aspects that you can wake up one day and be like, what did I see in that person? Like, and you just are like shocked at how you created something in your own mind and your own heart that was not reflective of what was actually in that person. And a little bit of that can be good in a relationship. I mean, you do want to have some Neptune to make things romantic and make things dreamy, but too much, and you could wake up one day and it's like, what was I even thinking? I mean, that's clearly not the person at all that I was relating with. Like you don't see each other very clearly with this aspect. And because it's a square, it creates such a tension that like you want to be in the relationship so bad. You want it to work so bad and you want these dreams fulfilled so bad, and it's like this fog that it will only lift when you're ready to see the truth about the relationship. And sometimes that could take a very, very long time. So, on the positive with this aspect, the level of emotions and the level of dreaminess that this creates can actually produce a lot of creativity. So, if you're an artist or if you're an astrologer or if you're, I know when I've had this aspect before, like it can create so much content because like the high that it produces, the Neptunian emotional high that this produces can be very constructive for any type of creative work or any type of like soul or spiritual work. And like that might be a part of the relationship's purpose in general, is like to bring out this amazing creativity in you and this amazing like emotional energy that comes out with this. Like that can be very productive in other areas of your life if you're not just wasting it all on your delusions about the person. This can actually be a really good use for the energy. And also like if you're both creatives, that might actually be like part of the collaborative purpose of this relationship, because the composite chart also shows the purpose of the relationship. So if you got a square to Moon and Neptune, it's like bringing dreams into reality is something that might be difficult, but like that is ultimately the purpose of the relationship. Now, another thing here, if both of you have a Moon Neptune square in your natal chart and then your composite chart combines to make this, this is a lot less of a red flag, because this is already something that this is already something you're very used to. Or if like both of you have like Moon opposite Neptune or Moon conjunct Neptune, and then you have this in the composite chart, it's just sort of a theme in your personalities anyways, that it's bound to show up in a relationship, right? So it's less of a big deal if you already have it in your natal chart. That's something that I've found to be a rule, is like if the aspect is already in both of your natal charts or one of your natal charts, it's like you're more comfortable with that tension, you're more comfortable with that energy. So just a side note, but yeah, I think that the ultimate purpose of this relationship is to show you something about your true feelings, about your inner self, about your emotional self, and help you to bring a really sacred part of your dreams into reality. Now, it might not necessarily come through this relationship if this is not real. But what you learn from this, what is brought out of you from this relationship, can then go on to manifest in your next relationship. So that's my advice to you if you've got this tricky one in your composite chart. I'd love to know your experience of it, how it's been for you. I don't think that there's anything that is, unable to be overcame in the composite chart, but this is definitely one of the harder aspects. So I'd love to know how you've done with it. Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching, you guys. Love you guys, and we'll talk soon.